Hi ladies, Dionysia here. I wanted to take some time out with you today to share some thoughts that I've been having recently about being perimenopausal. I was listening to a podcast with a woman she's a leading expert in the field of menopause, perimenopause and menopause in the world. She's amazing. She's based out of Texas. And she said something that she said a lot of things, but she said something that I thought was really striking, which was that we're going to spend about a third of our lives in that portal. And I thought, oh my God, like it never dawned on me that it could last that long. It can. And so I thought, okay, well then we just sort of better get ourselves prepared, educate ourselves, learn everything we can. And there's a lot to learn about that and about our symptoms and how to work with them, how to deal with them, how to be with them. But the thing that I'm most interested in sharing with you about is the internal journey that it takes us on. There's all the physical changes, that's real for sure. But there's also what it does to us in our psyche, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. What are we doing in this very intense, very specific type of initiatory journey? I consider perimenopause, menopause to be an initiatory journey. So if you're in that journey, you might really find something here. If you're not there yet, then I really encourage you to get yourself educated and be prepared. It is going to come. I was one of those naive 30-somethings who thought, it'll be a breeze. It hasn't been. That I'm not like doom foreshadowing for you. I'm just saying, be educated. I encourage you, if you're not yet in the perimenopause window, take care of your gut biome, take care of your brain biome, know about your hormones, learn how to eat for your specific hormonal body type. There are 5 different hormonal body types for perimenopausal women, and I would just encourage you to discover what yours is before you get there so you can prepare yourself. And for women who are beyond menopause already, you might really find that there's something here for you about what your journey has been like, or being able to recontextualize it if it was difficult for you. So all of that is to say that I've been thinking a lot lately about this mirror piece between having the perimenopausal, menopausal journey, being an initiatory portal, just like puberty was an initiatory portal. I read Christine Northrup, who's I think a brilliant woman. She wrote Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, among many other things, say that it's like at puberty, a red veil comes down over a woman, and she's under that red veil until menopause, when it lifts again. And what that means is that we really are a different woman underneath the red veil than we are when we're not underneath the red veil. So in childhood, we had a specific kind of freedom in our bodies that changes when we become the stewards of a life-bearing body. When our first blood comes and we are now officially a woman, and we are stewarding this body that has the responsibility of creating life and all of what that means for us, whether we want it, we don't want it, how to prevent it, how to keep it, how to abort it, like all of the management of that's going to take a huge chunk of our life. And then when that red veil raises post-menopause, so there's perimenopause, that's in the lead up to it, there's menopause, which is the actual ending of that era. And then there's postmenopause after it, right? Then we access that kind of freedom again in our queen years. So there's a very distinctive relationship between the queen and the maiden. And just like it was awkward in our maidenhood, it's awkward to get your first blood. It's awkward for your body to be changing all outside of your control. It's awkward how people are noticing it or not noticing it. It's awkward how other girls are relating to that. It's awkward how boys are relating to that. It can be very awkward how our mothers spoke to us about that or didn't. It can be awkward how prepared we were or we weren't. And even if we were really prepared, it can still be awkward, right? It's an awkward, uncomfortable kind of thing. The same is true about perimenopause and menopause. It's awkward. Our bodies are doing all kinds of things out of our control. We're hot for no reason. We're sweating. We're aching. We're having difficulty doing this or doing that was never difficult before, right? So it is an awkward portal, the red veil. And I think that it's really good when we can talk about it, when we can acknowledge it. And I think it's good that we acknowledge what the purpose of it is. So at puberty, the purpose of it is for us to become the life bearers. That is what's happening, right? We are moving into the biggest expression of our hormonal experiences, and we're going to be there for 20, 30 years of our lives. And then, it gives us the opportunity to be that life bearer, and we can choose that or not. We are that, whether we decide to have a child or not, or whether we can have a child or not. Because of course there are all kinds of complications that can come along with that, but the biological imperative is there, right? And then when we're coming out of that, the awkwardness is really, I think, preparing us to live life beyond it. I recently saw a professor talking about how humans are one of the only species on the planet that have menopause. We're the only species that comes out of a long bleeding time and stops bleeding and lives beyond it. And he said, I believe that the reason for that is for us to have grandmothers. Yes, literally grandmothers who have grandchildren, but also grandmothers, the wise ones, the wise women, the wise teachers. And we know that the ancient world knew this. We know we were empowered at that time in our lives. And I believe that if we look at the 5 stages of woman as maiden, lover, mother, queen, crone, that a lot of that wisdom speak and wisdom keeping and wisdom telling happens in our queen era. I think in our queen era, we're really garnering all of it. We're harnessing all of what we learned. We're learning how to, present it. We're learning where to be it, where to speak to it, where to share it. And then the longer we age, the more we just ripen in it and we become it. Early in my journey, I was definitely in my early 20s. It was before I had my daughter, and I was 25 when she was born. So I was probably 22 at the time, 22, 23. I went to a midwifery conference in Seattle, and I had a long journey up to that, but I can vividly remember being down a hallway in the conference area, or in a big conference area. There were a lot of women around, but I was standing with 2 girls who were already midwifery students. I was not at the time, and I actually didn't choose that path. I learned a lot, I read a lot, I talked with these women a lot, I spent a lot of time with those women, but I didn't take it on as my path in this lifetime, so I never did work as a midwife. But I was with these 2 midwifery students, and down the hall from us, in easy sight distance, but far enough away that I would have had to walk to her to speak with her, was Ina May Gaskin. And Ina May Gaskin is very, very well known, even famous in the world of midwifery, because she was the spear point for this group of women, the spearhead for this group of women in Tennessee in the 70s who started birthing babies at home. Like, they just stopped doing the whole hospital thing and really returned to the arts of midwifery. And she wrote a book called Spiritual Midwifery. It's a beautiful read. But also, she was just a big advocate for natural birth, home birth, all kinds of things related to the world of midwifing. And I remember looking at this woman and thinking to myself, I have never seen a woman who glows like that woman does. I don't think I've ever encountered such a powerful woman in my life before. Mind you, I had already been to the farm in Tennessee where these women live and have continued their teachings. I have no idea if Ina May Gaskin lives there anymore, but while in that brief moment that I was at the farm, I did not meet Ina May. I just saw her, and in fact, I still have not met her. I just saw her at this conference. But my point in sharing that with you is that she's a woman that I can and I can point to many that I can point to as having done exactly what I was just saying. She garnered all of her wisdom and harvested it and presented it to the world in a way that became a movement, that became a return to something wonderful and natural. There are many others. Starhawk comes to mind with Spiral Dance and the Goddess Path. Vicky Noble comes to mind with, shamanic women and tarot. And both of those women I've met and spent time with. Amazing, amazing women. Kathy Jones, who created the Avalonian mysteries that are alive and well in Avalon today, who I've also met and spent time with. Like these amazing, amazing women who did exactly this thing that I'm talking about, where we garner and harvest the wisdom, and then we go and we present it in a way that's meaningful for the lives of other people. But I think in the throes of it, while we're just managing all of the symptoms, it can be really hard to see that that's the possibility that's here. It can feel really awkward, right? So my encouragement to you is, like I said, educate yourself, find all the information that you can about this process, how to ease your symptoms, how to care for your body in all of these things. And I would say if you're having extreme symptoms or very difficult symptoms, I had one of my practitioners who I really trust said to me once, I told him that a woman doctor I had seen didn't want to do my hormone panels for me, and I really wanted to have them done. And she said it wasn't really relevant because our hormones change all day, every day, and from day to day, which is true. But I disagreed with her. I felt that it was relevant. And she also said to me, this is just normal. Well, this other practitioner that I was working with, he's a functional medicine doctor and chiropractor. He said to me, normal, yes, but does this seem natural to you? The symptoms that I was having. And I said, no, this does not seem natural to me. And he said, exactly, let's get your hormone panels done. We did. We found the cause of the problem. We balanced it out. I've had a journey with it. There's a lot more, and I won't go into all of that detail, but my point in saying that is, if you're having extreme symptoms, it's not necessarily natural, or normal might be that a lot of women are having that experience, but it doesn't have to be the experience that they're having. So I'm saying that it is worthwhile to invest in getting care, really high quality care for finding what you need, if that's a need that you're having. And also for knowing that, we're on the precipice, really. I mean, it's happening a lot faster in a lot bigger ways now of having information about this whole cycle, the menopausal journey, because it hasn't really been an area of study for a very long time. It's relatively new, all of the information that we have about it. And the exciting thing about that is that just means that we're going to keep learning and learning, and there's going to be more and more available, right? So if it's awkward for you, then I would just recommend to you that you find a really good care practitioner. Find the most leading edge information that you can find about it. Educate yourself. Care for and tend to your sweet body. She's really going through something. And also turn yourself towards, what are you learning about yourself? What are you finding about you and your life and what you really want to be living and what you know? What do you know that you didn't know when you were 30? What do you know that you didn't know when you were 20? And, start harvesting that. Maybe journal it, maybe write some things down, and embrace the awkwardness and know that we will move out of that too, but that we get to love ourselves in it. And that if we tune into it, we can find that relationship between the queen energy that we're moving into at this stage of life and the maiden energy that we had at that stage of life. There is a distinctive relationship between the two. And if we tend to that relationship, there's a lot of richness there. There's a lot for us to know there. There's a lot for us to be bringing forward with us as we go. I hope there's something here for you. If you find value in this content, I hope you will go click that subscribe button. It really does help YouTube algorithm spread the word for other women who maybe haven't yet met feminine wisdom teachings. that you can help them meet it by helping spread the word. And also you'll be the first to get these videos when they come out. And from my heart to yours, I wish you deep journeys and explorations within yourself, whatever stage of life you're in right now, and that you can really find and garner and harvest the wisdom that you hold that will benefit our world as we continue on. Big, big love to you, ladies. Blessed be.